Manchester City are preparing to face Atletico Madrid and Liverpool, both twice in the next 12 days. It begins with their first leg of the Champions League quarter-final with Atletico at the Etihad tonight. I'm pleased to say we have former City midfielder Michael Brown joining us to go through all of the build-up to this one. Michael, a lot of talk about the clash of styles tonight between these two. Pep Guardiola told us he has no problem with the way that Diego Simeone's side play. Do you think he could get frustrated?
Well, I think you just got to look at the way they're set up, the way they play the game. They can buy fouls, they can time waste, they can get people into trouble. I mean, against Liverpool, I think there's both occasions, 2 red cards, and it's quite familiar how they can control games at times. So Pep Guardiola understands the way they play. City have not to get too frustrated, continue with that possession, move the ball around and hopefully be on top with that. But it's a fascinating game, isn't it? City with all the possession. Atletico are going to sit back in and try and soak that up, game management, try as many tactics as they possibly can. But they've had success, haven't they? Champions League, see, the last sort of 5 seasons, I think they've been in the quarter-final 3 times. So incredible return from the football club.
It is, but what about Pep admitting City have taken the ball to the corner flag late in the game to run down the clock and described it as a smart play? Does that surprise you?
I think for everybody who watches Manchester City, they realised quite a few years ago they'd still keep trying to play and obviously see out the games. And they were getting into trouble. So now if you watch them, and they've done it for some time, this is nothing new. And he's been asked this question, and we can talk about going into the corners. If you watch late on games where they're tight, Edison will go long. They'll then play into the corners. They'll try and obviously waste a little bit of time themselves. And it's game management. It's been going on for years. I would imagine when Pep Guardiola first came to the Premier League, there's no way he would have wanted to do that. But then he realises, this league can be tricky, obviously big games, and he decided to change his tactic. And full credit to him that it's not all about playing, it's about getting those points.
Now, they have these 4 massive games in the next 2 days, but we start this evening with Atletico. This is, of course, across 2 legs. Then there's Liverpool twice, key game on Sunday. But what sort of lineup do you expect tonight, bearing in mind Sunday's game, of course?
I think that's always the difficulty. And you look at Pep Guardiola's squad and you start thinking, where would he change? Would he look towards the weekend? And really, he actually plays the game that's in front of him. He doesn't really plan too much towards that next game. I think there'll be a couple of changes you would expect from the weekend's game against Burnley. Obviously, no Kyle Walker, so the defence is probably the one. See, Ruben Diaz injured as well. So who will play centre-back? Will John Stones come back in? Will it be Zinchenko at left-back, Cancelo at right-sided full-back? But going forward, I mean, the amount of options, you've got Riyad Mahrez, you've got Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden. Will he play a 9 in Gabriel Jesus? I think Jack Grealish. I mean, it's endless opportunities. Midfield as well, Ilkay Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne. So Bernardo fresh from the weekend. Lots of options. It's always hard to guess Pep Guardiola's side.
We've got Kevin De Bruyne, João Cancelo, Gabriel Jesus, 1 booking away from suspension. Do you think this will play into Guardiola's thinking? I
think you look at City and I think, the responsibilities that they have not to go and take that booking. But I think he'd be the first to tell them, yes, Kevin De Bruyne would be the one. You wouldn't want to get into that sort of level. You need him on the pitch. If games are tight, he could be the difference with that passing range, the creativity that he has, right foot, left back, involved straight away the game against Burnley and obviously games going forward. But I think he can deal with that. I think he's got to go full out and not worry about it if it's to happen. That's the case. Obviously, Cancelo, you've got Kyle Walker coming back, and whether even Gabriel Jesus plays, we'll soon see. So I just think it's a player. I think before you say it, I played on yellow cards for such a long period of time that you've got to manage it well.
But how do they manage to beat City tonight? I mean, Atletico themselves, they're on fire in La Liga. They've won their last 6 games, very much the form team.
I think as well, I think it comes back to whether they play that back 5. Obviously, Manchester City, I think that's one formation they probably wouldn't want to come up against if you were given that choice. There's been some joy for other sides. And I think they've got to limit City. I think they've got to close the gaps. Those midfield runners, the 2 8s probably, whether it be Gundogan, whether it be Kevin De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva, getting inside of those 2 wide sort of centre-backs as well for Atletico will be key. But out of possession, they're really good. I think they've got to counter-attack where they can, wherever City are on top, and that's the key moment whether City can handle the counter-attack of Atletico Madrid. So it's a fascinating game. I think they take confidence, obviously, from beating Manchester United. But if you look up, they come against the better sides in Liverpool. Obviously, this season they've lost both of those games, so that's quite telling straight away. They'll know they're up against it at Manchester City. But I think City have got to go quick. I think they've got to attack from the off. And I think, as I say, Burnley at the weekend getting that early goal changes everything. So it's a fascinating game. We're all looking forward to it, and it should be a great occasion.
It should be, shouldn't it, Michael? Thank you very much.